Hey, so what's going on, everybody? This is Juanita with 7th Avenue. I am in a car right now. I actually am not going anywhere. I'm just sitting here because the kids is too loud in the house and I'm not able to make a clear video with no distractions. And I have something really serious to talk to you about today. So, first and foremost, let me not be rude. How are you doing today? Like, literally, how are you doing? Like, what's new with you? How have you been? You know, I like to check in with my friends and family just to see what's going on. What are you focused on these days? And how can I support you? I want to support you in whatever it is that you're trying to do so that you can get to the next level. So what can I do for you? DM me. Let's chat about it. Let's connect and network, and let's talk about it. What is it? A listening ear, a prayer, uh, maybe, I don't know, some baby shoes, some Pampers. Like, what is it that you're focused on these days, and how can I support you? So, it's really important now in these days and times to not just focus on yourself. It's not all about you. It's not all about what you're doing. It's not all about what I'm doing, I should say. Say it in that perspective. So when people they only make things about themselves selfishly, it's sad, especially in these times with COVID and with all this stuff that's going on. But I have some real serious stuff that I want to talk to you guys about. And let's just go ahead and get right into it. So I was eating my breakfast today, and I was, talking to the kids, and we were eating our breakfast, and we were just sitting there, just shooting a breeze. And I was reading something, and it was like really shocking. Let me tell you how these mofos, CFPB, that is the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, has passed a rule or a law, financial law, that they passed it in late October. Basically, it just tells the collection agencies that they can contact you through your social media, right? So let's talk about this for a minute. When I first read this, I started to think all kinds of things in my mind. Okay, if you're telling me that these debt collectors can call me, they're not just going to be limited to calling me or emailing me or sending me a mail. They can now text me and go on my social media. So think about this. If they're going on your social media, just think about Facebook. Some of y'all probably know what I'm talking about when I say this. You get friend requests from people all over the world, right? Some people have one picture, no pictures. Some people are whatever they have. It's crazy. You don't know who is who's real, who's fishing, who's catfishing, whatever the case may be. So can you imagine what it would be like if you got a bill collector contacting you? Now, there are a certain amount of rules, but check this out. This was placed, or this was ruled on, so they agreed on it and it's now in effect. This was ruled on in late October, right? While we're sitting here focusing on all this distraction that's around us, this is the stuff that we should be focusing on. We should not be all distracted by the stuff that we can't control. But if we had our eyes in the right places, our ears in the right places, then maybe we could have had our voices heard in certain areas that need to be heard. I mean, these people didn't even publicly express this. They didn't even tell anybody about this. And the people who knew about it, they had access to the 132-page document that actually said that this is what they were going to do. And actually, I have it here, part of it here, and it read, the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau today issued a final rule to restate and clarify prohibitions on harassment and abuse, false or misleading representations, and unfair practices by debt collectors when collecting consumer debt. The agency reported, adding that it clarifies how the protections of the Fair Debt Collection Practices Act, which has passed in 1977, apply to newer communication technologies such as email and text messages. So from here, you guys, that just basically says that they can email you now, they can text you now. So if you ever had a collections call, or maybe your family members or your friends may have had a collections call, in reference to you, can you imagine how that's going to be if they were to reach out to your family and friends through social media? I mean, so I don't know about you, but if that doesn't get you riled up, if that doesn't get you fired up, I don't know what will. Because this is something that I'm starting to feel like immediately that's a privacy concern. I'm thinking about harassment. Can you imagine that? Like, if somebody tries to reach out to me, they're like, hey, let's go hang out, let's have lunch. And I'm like, hold on, I don't even know you, so let me go check your social media, or if somebody's like, hey, let's partner together, let's do something together, I'm checking their social media, right? So what do you think is going to happen when you're trying to get a job? What do you think is going to happen when you're trying to buy a house? These people are checking your social media. They're checking your web presence. They're trying to see, who you are, right? But not only are they going to see who you are, but it could be possible that they might even see what you have done, like how you handle your finances, if you are reliable or not. So that is very important. Now, a part of the rules for the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, which, if you don't know who they are another part of the Federal Reserve System. So they are within that Federal Reserve System, but just another entity. And basically what they're supposed to be doing is protecting the consumers financially. So they create the laws that protect the consumers financially. So what was I saying? I forgot what I was saying. That took me off the whole task. But just imagine how that's going to be if they're reaching out to your friends and your family, and how that is going to look, right? Trying to get a job and trying to better yourself. How they could harass you on social media, and it could be made public. Now, I say they could because they're not supposed to. According to the rules, they're supposed to directly contact you and let you know. They're not supposed to put anything public at all. So if you have anything that is showing public, make sure that you handle that ahead of time. It's time for us to be proactive and not just sit around and be like, oh, they're not gonna bother me, I use a fake name anyway. Trust me, there are ways to find you. I mean, there are ways to see your information. Like, I could probably look up your address right now and see your full address and your phone number and your mom's name and your grandmom's name and your cousins and everybody else. So don't think it's not possible. It is. It definitely is. I mean, have you guys had these text messages? Have you been receiving the text messages from the I don't know where they're from, but they're like campaigning text messages. They're like, hey, did you vote? Hey, what was your experience? Hey, this and this. I'm like, hold on, I didn't sign up for anything, so how did you get my number? Block. Apple, this is spam, get it out of here. So with that being said, they're not supposed to contact you publicly or put any of your information out publicly. They're also not supposed to just start talking to you. They're supposed to identify themselves, just like they're supposed to on a phone. They're supposed to identify themselves so that you would know who they are and who they're representing, if they're a collection agency or not. Now, the problem is you don't want to wait for them to do that, because if you're not knowledgeable about these laws and what your rights are, you're going to be talking to any random person. They might even try to DM you, acting like they're your friend, get all this information on you, collect all the things that you're doing, your whereabouts, your locations, and next thing you know, it's, you in there, you're on their radar. So I don't know how bad that can get, but I do know it is creepy. I do know that it's time for us to be proactive. And I do know that even though that they have certain rules, like they're not supposed to be cursing you out and harassing you, and but they can do things like they can call you and text you 7 days a week, so they can reach out to you 7 days a week for different collections, so those are things that you definitely want to focus on. They're supposed to, if they reach out to you and you tell them, hey, don't reach out to me through social media, they're supposed to not reach out to you through social media. So you want to make sure that you know that. You want to make sure that you read up on this. You want to make sure you're knowledgeable about these things, not just credit, but anything. You just can't sit there and be oblivious, or just be waiting for the news people to tell you what's going on in the world. You need to be everywhere. You need to be vigilant. You need to be present everywhere, So I'm reaching out to you guys today just to let you guys know that I don't want to take up too much of your time, but it's time to get right. It is time to get right. What is holding you up? If you have not checked your credit report, it's time for you to check it. You need to go on there and see who you owe, or who allegedly says that you owe them something. And let's get started, man. Be proactive. Don't wait for them to reach out to you to tell you that you owe them a debt. And it might not even be your debt. So that's why I'm saying you need to make sure that you take precautions before all of this stuff starts taking place, okay? I think that's it for me for today. So if you guys want to know more, hit me up in my DMs. Let me know how I can support you. Let me know. And this is not about my business. This is just me and you talking personally. I want to make sure you're good. I want to know what's new in your life. Did you just get married? Did you just have a baby? Like, what's going on? Like, let's connect. And that's genuinely from me to you. Not about business, not about buying nothing. But if if you're trying to start a business and you want me to help you with something, whether it's whatever it is, hit me up. Let's talk. So that's it for now, guys. Enjoy the rest of your day. I will be checking back in with you a little bit later, but for now, ciao.